Hi everybody, James Simmers, Marine Park Technical College Culinary Arts Instructor. Had some questions this week about some quarantine cooking. Everybody has a lot more time to cook on their hands, and well, a lot of people aren't going out to restaurants, but remember you can get carry out, support those local restaurants as well. Little side note. But anyway, what we're going to be talking about today is some different oils and shortenings you can use and how to keep foods from sticking to the pan when you're frying. So it's kind of a condensed lesson. We're just going to go over some basic oils. I just gathered up things I had around my house, some different oils and shortenings. This one must be left over from the automotive guys, so we're not going to use motor oil today. But we do have some other oils that I had around. We have a basic shortening, which of course is at room temperature, quite solid, as you can see. That's good for a couple of different things. Deep frying, I don't use that a lot. I use that primarily for baking. We also have butter, of course. A lot of people love to fry things in butter, but there's a little bit of secret. One of the problems one of my friends mentioned about cooking with butter was that it always seemed to stick to the pan, and it made the pan really difficult to clean. There's a reason for that. Butter isn't a pure shortening. There's other things in here too. There's milk solids, there's water, a couple of other things that make it spreadable and make it enjoyable for us to put on our toaster or bread or whatever the case might be. For frying, it's not always the best. A lot of flavor, but burns very easily, has a low smoke point. Some of my chef friends do like the flavor though, and what they do is they'll take the butter and they'll clarify it. You can find out how to do that online. It's really quite simple. And once it's clarified, the smoke point is higher and you don't have any of those solids left. It's also known as ghee, G-H-E-E, which is used a lot in Indian cooking. As far as the other oils we have here, I have one of my personal favorites, and this is olive oil. But this isn't really that good for cooking or frying. Number one, it's not real pure as far as being filtered. You don't want it to be because you take out a lot of the flavor and the benefits of olive oil. But I love just drizzling it on things. I love after a steak comes off the stove or off the grill, a little bit of this, maybe infused with some garlic, really good too. Another one we use a lot around our house is sesame oil. In fact, we're almost out, as you can see. Sesame oil, again, not real good for frying because, again, not super filtered, has a lot of solids in it, tends to burn. It's also quite expensive. So I use this more as a seasoning in the oil. So I might start with another oil, then use a little bit of this just to get that kind of Asian flavor. The number one oil I've used throughout my career for sauteing and light frying and things like that is just a basic, simple vegetable oil. And the reason is, again, it's highly filtered, doesn't have a lot of solids, and quite frankly has almost no flavor at all. Now, why would that be good? Because I want to taste the food, I want to taste what I'm cooking. Sometimes with butter, it's fun, you can have the buttery flavor in that too, but sometimes I just want the pure food to come through. Examples would be like fried chicken. You have all of that flavor in your breading, and you have all that flavor that maybe you brine your chicken in that. I don't want to add another flavor with the oil, so I want something very, very basic without a lot of flavor, okay? If I'm making salad dressings and things like that, I'll use some of these, one of these two maybe. I'm not going to use the shortening, of course. Or the butter, anything that's solid at room temperature. But there's lots of other oils you can use too. There's walnut oils, avocado oils, the list goes on and on. But for cooking, this is my number one go-to. My number two would probably be the clarified butter. That's if I want to add some flavor. Now, to keep your foods from sticking, obviously, a number of different kinds of pans. But the pans I like most are ones that are most versatile. This is a aluminum core stainless steel coated pan. The reason the core is aluminum, that conducts heat very well for a reasonable price. There's other things that conduct it a little bit better, but for an affordable, nice pan, an aluminum core is nice. The reason I like the stainless on the outside, number one, some things will react with an aluminum pan. Things like tomatoes, anything highly acidic will react with an aluminum pan, and you might get a little bit of that metal flavor. Number two, they just plain look nicer. And so if you're having them around in your kitchen or you're having guests over, it's just a nice looking pan. A lot of people, this is their go-to, the traditional non-stick pan. This one is a very, very inexpensive one, and they call it non-stick. Yeah, once you use any kind of hard metal or anything to turn anything in there, chances are what's going to happen is you're gonna scratch it, and it's going to lose that Teflon power. Also, if you have good Teflon pans, don't put them in the dishwasher because you'll also lose that non-stick power. Okay. As I said, my number one to keep food from sticking, what I do is, let's say we're cooking something like a fish, something that usually tends to stick a lot. So let's think salmon fillets or something like that. So what I'll do is I'll heat this pan up. Then I'll add my clear oil, my just typical vegetable oil, canola oil, salad oil, whatever it's listed as. I'll put that in here and I'll heat it up. Some people will heat the pan first, then add the oil, that's fine too. Make sure the pan is hot. You don't want it smoking, okay? But make sure it's hot. One way to do that, now listen carefully because this can be dangerous if you do it wrong, is you can heat this pan slightly without the oil in it. When you put a drop of water in there and the water dances, that means that it's hot enough. So then put the oil in, wait a second or two, that oil will heat right up, and then you can add your food to it. Don't add water to the oil because you'll set your kitchen on fire probably, so don't do that. But a good way to test it, you want the oil about 350 degrees or so. Then you put your fish in. Once you put your fish in, just leave it alone. It won't stick until it's ready. It won't stick or if it's ready to be turned. Sorry, I kind of messed that up. I don't know if I can do 2 takes or not. Whatever. So it might stick in the beginning, but eventually what's going to happen is that's going to release. When it's ready to be turned, you simply turn it over. And a little trick you can do too, you shouldn't have a ton of oil. You're not deep frying it, but a small amount of oil. Simply tilt it forward, bring the fish back up to the top where there is no oil, flip it, and then you won't splash it back on yourself. So there's a couple of things just to keep foods from sticking. Learning how to cook things that do traditionally stick 90% of the time is because you're trying to turn it just a little bit too soon. So I hope everyone learned something about oils and sticky and everything else today, and I hope everyone's staying safe, and we'll see you all again real soon. Thanks.